Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TogetherCon. Nope. Let me do this. All right, and here is Phoenix and Ron, and they're going to talk to you about content creators. Okay, bye.
Hold on. I didn't realize we were live, and I totally took a hit.
It's legal.
Whoops.
It's fine.
It's legal where I'm at, but technically we still can't do that on Twitch, and we'll go over why later in the panel. So what a great way to open this panel! Okay, let me go shut my door because I hear myself in.
Wait,
Ron's.
does that mean I'm not supposed to be taking hits of my tincture when I'm on stream? That's good to know.
Oh, good lord.
All right, before you start, does that mean I can't take hits on my tincture when I'm on stream? Because I would like to know that.
That is correct.
Good to know. I've
yes.
never done it, and I never will. Nobody will say otherwise.
Rarely enforced, but it gives them a reason to ban your account if they want to.
Yeah, basically. So it's just something to, be aware, and we'll go into that more in a little bit. Because there's since okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Totally getting ahead of myself. First off, let me make sure that I can see the chats here, because I want to be able to see questions when people ask me questions. So I am looking at the Twitch chats. I am not looking at. Hold on, I can. Give me a second. Hold on. I did not prepare for this.
I've got the Discord chat open. I don't have the Twitch chat open. Should I open it?
No. You have the Discord chat open?
Yeah.
Panel room. Panel, perfect. You look at those if people ask questions, and I'll look at the Twitch chat if people ask questions. Boom,
okay.
We got it. See, we are a wonderful team together. This is why we do this together. Hello. Welcome to the Content Creators Panel, brought to you by the podcast Learning the Law, a Two Lazy Dogs media company. Hi, my name is Phoenix. This is my husband, Ron.
Hello.
And we host and produce a podcast called Learning the Law that is available everywhere that you can listen to podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere. So you can learn American politics by listening to us, because that is what we mostly discuss.
And the law.
So, yeah. But before we get really started, we have to give this disclaimer, because this is legal information, legal education, and this panel is purely educational and should not be taken as legal advice. This panel does not create an attorney-client relationship, meaning Ron is not your attorney. This panel is based on our interpretation of relevant law, and any opinions expressed are the opinions of the individual making them and do not reflect the opinions of any firm, company, or other individuals. Ron is a licensed practicing attorney here in the state of California. We do not talk about his firm, so do not ask us where he works. We are not associated with his firm. And I am a journalist. I have been in the film industry for over 20 years. I have a lot of experience of asking people questions and bugging the shit out of them. So that's what I bring to the table. I am that asshole who grew up asking why and pissed everybody off. Really great for a journalist. So So we are both on Threads now. We do not use Twitter at all. It is a 4chan site now, and it is getting worse and worse and worse. And but you can find me on most major social media platforms under Phoenix Nymphy. It's I used to be a streamer. Some of you may know me. I still have a Twitch account, but I don't stream on Twitch anymore. Just because the journalist thing took over and I just don't have time. And Ron is also on Threads under Necrokijo. We don't have a show thing anymore because I just can't keep up with that many fucking social media stuff. So I just tweet it through my own personal stuff. So if you ever have any questions, you can DM us on social media or comment to us. And today you get to ask us live while we get to talk to you. So our focus is going to be on laws and legal things that content creators, artists, creative people in general need to think about when you start working in this field. And I know a lot of people tend to not think about the legal aspect of the creative part, but you need to. You can't if you want to be a professional creative person, you have to also think of the legal aspects of it, because
you don't want to find yourself unexpectedly in a courtroom or getting served with papers.
Right.
Yeah, it's never fun.
And
it's fun for me.
I mean, and if we didn't have to worry about all of that stuff, I mean, all right, I don't like AI. I'm not a fan of AI. I'm wearing my strike shirt from last year when the film industry went on strike. Because AI is trying to take over, the tech bros are trying to take over the industry with AI. And we'll talk more on that a little bit later as well, because it matters. A lot of the copyright law has actually changed because AI is coming into because it's here, it's in mainstream. And so that's, yeah, it's all connected. It's all connected.
Right.
So that is one of the biggest stressors as a creative person, because it fucking sucks. So like a lot of people who just you can just come and flip on the switch and play games on Twitch and do it as a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can just go, I don't give a shit about any of this. And if I lose my stuff, I lose my stuff. That's fine. But if you do want to make a living out of it, aside from all of the bullshit, misogynistic, racist shit of the people who own these companies, I am clearly opinionated. I really need to stop. Sorry. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't have taken that hit before this. Anyway, these are just some general ideas of things that will help keep you safe along your journey, just to keep in the back of your head. Copyright, these are the copyright law basics. Yeah, and I'm going to let Ron take over so that I shut up.
Okay. It is very important as someone who creates content that you know what copyright laws are. First of all, do you know if you own your own intellectual property or not? And generally, anything that you create that comes from your own creativity is covered by copyright, whether or not it's registered. If you think of something, you write it down, you produce it, you video it, etc., you own it. People cannot generally use it unless it's under fair play, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you also need to know about trademarks, so you don't accidentally infringe on someone else's trademark. And the basic example I can use for what's the difference between a trademark and a copyright is you can write a book on the history of Pepsi. That's protected by copyright law. But the name Pepsi or the Pepsi logo is protected by trademark rules. So that's when you see the little TM with the circle around it in written articles and things. You do that to protect yourself from infringing on someone's trademark.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
If you write this history of Pepsi book, can you publish it without having to pay them for the trademark, or do you have to pay them? How would that work?
You have to
Like,
put
how
the
does that?
TM every time you use the word Pepsi.
Okay, but do you have to pay them anything?
No.
Okay. It's registering in my brain what you're talking about now. Okay, I gotcha. You have to say who you're talking about, basically.
Correct.
So, like, it's your trademark is your brand.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it too.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, for example, Two Lazy Dogs Media is my media company. I don't have it trademarked, but I probably should, shouldn't I?
Yeah. So, and at some point, sometimes your trademark enters in the common English language. And it can become so pervasive that you tend to lose that trademark.
Like, Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, that was litigation. The company actually voluntarily gave it up before there was a court
Oh,
opinion.
good guy restaurant then.
Yeah,
But
Taco John's.
yeah, that's actually a
Um,
really good example of that.
Another is Xerox. For a long time, people just didn't say, I'm going to go copy this. They'd say, I'm going to go Xerox this.
That's right. We just aged ourselves right there, though.
Well, I aged myself a lot. Um, what can I say? I'm old. So, if you want to use copyright material or someone wants to use yours, there are 4 factors to consider in what's considered to be fair use. You're not prohibited from using copyright material in certain cases, but you got to look at the 4 factors. The first factor is the purpose and character of the use. Is it commercial? Is it not commercial? Are you transforming their copyrighted material into something else? Or are you keeping it as is? And each one of these factors is different in every single case. Generally, if it's a non-commercial use, that's more of a factor for you to be able to use it. People don't like other people making money off their copyrighted material, of course. And transformative versus non-transformative is, for example, you have a video and someone wants to use it, and your video is of a cat playing or a dog chasing a rabbit or something, but they want to use it as a metaphor for something to take it totally out of context. And that's another thing that the courts will look at. Generally, if it's transformative, it's more of a fair use because you're taking it away from the meaning of the original copyright material. And there's no formula. anymore to what is available. Like, if it's commercial, I can use it. No. The courts look at other things too. They want to know if the copyright work is creative or is it factual. If your copyrighted work is more factual, that leans heavily towards being able to use it, fair use. If it's creative, not so much.
And that's really interesting. Especially considering the prevalence of AI and how AI is trained. That would mean that everything that AI takes is not under fair use.
Not yet,
Yeah.
because the use of AI with copyrighted and trademark material has not really reached court judgments yet from the higher courts. This litigation is just getting started.
Yeah, and we're already seeing like people actually using it politically for misinformation on campaigns, because there was just something that came out. Crap, I forget which state was it. It was a governor race, I think.
Could be. Just wait until you get old dead celebrities endorsing political candidates.
Right. It's
You looking it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but I forgot which. And the Google search engine now is being used they changed it, and it's being run by AI, and it pops up stuff to sell you first before you find the other search things. However, I think that's about to change because of net neutrality,
which we're going to get to.
Which we'll get to.
Okay. The third factor they look at, the courts, did you use the whole copyrighted material? Did you use part of it? Did you use 10%, 20%, 30%? The smaller the amount used, the more favorable it is towards fair use of that material. And then the fourth factor that the courts look at is you're using this copyrighted material affecting the marketability and value of that copyrighted material. And so the courts will look at all of this and come up with a decision. So what is good in one jurisdiction may not be the same in another jurisdiction. These are all things you need to keep in mind as you use copyright material, if you do, or somebody using yours.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, a copyright exists for the life of the author plus 70 years, as long as the copyright was created after January 1st, 1978. Before that, I believe the copyright material was good for just 75 years, which is why you get Winnie the Pooh, Horror Story, or people being able to use Steamboat Willie Mickey, but not some other versions of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Because things are falling into the public domain.
Yeah. I wish I was prepared enough to have Steamboat Willie ready to show, because that would have been such a perfect time to put it up. And I believe John Oliver would have been proud of us, but at least we talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, well, he is the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah. That means I gotta step up my game. My game. So anyway, Moving on. Continue.
Okay. Well, the next thing that are you gonna change the slide?
Okay. I wasn't okay. So
Okay.
next.
We just had the Supreme Court in last May of 2023, take their first fair use case in 25 years. And the nutshell of that was this lady came up with 15 photographs of prints. And then this company wanted to use those photographs in some kind of ad campaign. And of course, litigation ensued. Um, the lady won her case, but the fallout of this decision was previous to May of 2023. The courts gave a high factor to the um, transformative use, and if the use was really transformative, they gave a high factor to that, more so than the other factors. So all you really had to do was show the court that you were using it in a transformative manner, and it would fall under fair use. No longer.
This is for educational purposes, which is why we are showing this. Okay. Continue on.
No longer. Transformative use is not any greater or lesser a factor than the other three factors that have to be considered. So there still isn't a formula to use, but do not think because you have a transformative use that you're going to get away with using copyrighted material.
And remind me, what is transformative use again?
That's where you take the copyrighted material and use it for a different purpose or context for which it was originally written.
Would that be something like broadcasting?
Um,
Or what would broadcasting and educational use be? That would.
that is fair use. That falls, under like news and things like that. It transformative use is it like in this case, they took this lady's photograph of Prince and used it in their own commercial ads and things.
And didn't pay her.
Did not pay her. They said
Wow.
it was fair use of a public figure.
Oh, gotcha.
And it was not, because the photograph was really a behind the scenes personal life picture of Prince. And she took a series of them.
Specific art. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's sorry, I Tokyo drifted there for a second. So
Okay.
thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. But no problem.
That's crazy.
It's always best if you're going to use a copyrighted picture or copyrighted material like that to try and get the permission of the person who actually created it.
Yes. And later we'll give some examples of sites and stuff that have free use stuff that you can just attribute to, or we'll get into more on tools that artists can use starting out. That is not AI.
Right.
Because AI can be used as a tool, but we don't want to use it to promote our own stuff because it steals from other artists, which means it would be, it's the transformative kind of copyright. That's probably what they're trying to, argue, but you're still stealing.
Right. Right.
The next thing to did you have anything else to say, or
No,
are we
no,
ready?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, we're ready to go on.
Okay, so DMCA, which is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, is what helps establish the parameters for social media platforms, really. User generated, post user generated content like Twitch, YouTube, TikTok.
Right. And that's why sometimes you will have your music banned on your video or a video taken down because you've used somebody's copyrighted music, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody has made a complaint, and things get taken down that way.
Yeah. And a lot of those are automatic, like especially on YouTube, they're automatically done like out.
Yeah.
And because I've gotten copyrights on something that I fully paid and attributed, and I'm like, this is not, that's what? Because it
Right.
automatic, because it's like it's not even the song that they are saying it is, and I'm like, that's what?
And it's mainly bots
Yeah.
that search for this because you got millions of videos, billions of views, and there's no way you can have the staff monitor that.
Right.
There just isn't enough. Well, there's enough people, but there isn't enough money to pay the right amount of people.
There is, they just don't want to.
Well, if you're going to have to hire a force of 10 million people, I don't even think YouTube brings in that much money.
Well, okay,
If you
that's
want to
fair.
pay them a living wage.
Okay. But you could have more moderators to look over what gets caught, you know?
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
don't, and they don't even invest in that part of it.
No, because they rely too much on the bots.
Way too much. And it's showing the bias that goes into it, because computers are built by humans. So they are going to be inherently biased based on what or who or the circumstances that created. So if you put trash in, you're going to get trash out.
Right.
And that's the nice way I'm going to say that.
You know, music is one of the most difficult things to do because there's only so many chords.
I
You
mean,
can
Ed
only
Sheeran
put,
had a monumental case last year about chord progressions, and that there are certain chord progressions that you build upon, and that they are just, it's like scales basically. It's basically scales, and I forget who tried to sue him, but they settled in favor of Ed Sheeran because there are only so many notes. Like, it's a mathematical kind of situation, you know?
right. And you would think, mathematics would be great for a computer to catch. But so many songs are so similar, they will catch the wrong song as not being able to be used and ban your video or take the music off of it. I've seen those videos too. So, best practice, use free use music if you can.
Yeah. And there's also, which I will note, there's also services that you can pay that, like Monster Cat, Pretzel Rocks, stuff like that, that is free to use, that you pay a like a subscription fee, and you can use the music when you're streaming and stuff like that. Like, they've come about because streaming, it has become so popular, and I found some pretty cool musicians that, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Right. And, well,
Getting
if
a
you're a
little
professional streamer and you're getting an income, you can use that subscription fee as a tax deduction.
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So next we have the terms of service.
Yes.
It is extremely important as a content creator that you read the terms of service for every platform you're creating content for. While
Yes.
copyright law may protect you and your work, a platform's term of service may take that away from you. And I'll give a quick example. A couple years ago, Hasbro / Wizards of the Coast tried to pass pass by the creators of role-playing content, where they tried to say that Hasbro was given an automatic to infinity license to use your content.
Yeah.
And that's if you used their open gaming license. Not there originally. All of a sudden they wanted to give themselves a license for everybody using the open gaming license, that they could use their stuff. And they did announce that.
If you are a lot of you will remember when this happened, because I know that there's a lot of D&D and TTRPG fans in Real Women of
What, baby?
Gaming, and we mentioned this last year, and when we talked about it last year, they had just stepped it back, and it's
All right,
honestly
give me a
still
minute
the
and I will,
best
okay?
example of this, where the content creators are the ones who found it because they stayed on top of it, and they're like, hang on, this is a big change. What's happening? Because they don't
Right. Because
tell you about the changes. That's why a lot of now, because they passed in the EU, they passed a law that requires them now to tell you when they update their terms of services. And so they do
and
it,
what was updated.
and what was updated. And now, like, they do it here. I don't think we have a law. I think California might have a law like that, but I don't think we have a federal law like that.
I don't think so yet either. Have not looked into that, but
But that's
they
why we
do.
now have those pop-ups whenever they change the terms of services.
Right.
It's
What subject?
And a lot of
because
people
shit
will
like
just
this.
update and accept it, and they don't really read it.
Right.
It's very important to read it. One of the other reasons to read the terms of service is to know what kind of content is allowed or disallowed.
Like
Just
smoking weed.
exactly.
The
A lot of
laws
terms. A lot of terms of
specifically.
a lot of terms of service will say you can't do anything illegal. You can't show illegal things, and it may be legal in your state. For example, we'll use cannabis. It's legal. It is legal in a lot of states now. Federally, still illegal.
Right.
So that gives them the power to just delete your account, ban your account, suspend your account if
And
you
they
do
don't
it
have
on
to
stream.
tell you and they don't have to tell you why, because it's in their terms of
Yeah.
services. It's just, yeah, they don't have to tell you exactly what you did. They can just
Yep.
you have to pay
And
attention to those things.
and since something like Twitch is international, if you're gonna do that or do something, you got to make sure that it's legal everywhere Twitch is.
Yeah.
So
So, like, if you're in Korea, for example, like Darren in the previous
South
uh
Korea.
in South Korea, in the first panel, their laws are different in South Korea. So, and China, like they have vastly different laws when it comes to that stuff. So the terms of services are even different. All of that stuff's going to be different there as well.
Right. And another good example of what international law, I play World of Warcraft. I'm sure a lot of people have or still do.
That's where we met.
Yeah. In China, you can't show the bones and blood
Stop
in a
playing.
game like that. So here in the US, you see, if you're playing a Forsaken like I do, you have exposed elbow bones and everything. Don't get that in China.
Right. What game was it? I think there are a lot of games now that will give you the option to change the blood to green because of those rules.
Yep.
And I'm just reading chat over here. Previously, Pluto says this was awful. Something just as bad happened to indie devs recently for Unity. Unity also retroactively changed their terms of service and license use. It caused many indies to switch engines. Same with us after Oddwear. Wow. That's crazy.
Not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with Unity.
So Unity is it's a game it's open source, isn't it? I believe Unity is it's a game engine and I believe it's open source.
So they tried to do what Hasbro did.
Yeah. Now, yes and no. Okay. So it's a game engine.
Okay.
So that's I know the logo. There's a lot of games that I can see the logo.
I have
but
heard of it. I
can't
haven't.
think of a game that right now off the top of my head, but I can see the fucking logo.
So is it similar to like the Unreal Engine then?
Open source Epic. It's the Epic. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Example, they wanted to charge by install. So let's say you made a free to play game 10 years ago. Anyone install that, you are now on the hook for all the costs. They were aiming for live service games, but hit all the indies to death.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me a company would do that.
Right.
There'd be a lot of litigation around
they had
that.
to step it back like Hasbro. Good.
Yeah, because you can't go and charge retroactively 10 years worth of install fees.
That's insane. The CEO stepped down and their stock tanked by 50%. Good. That's what they deserve.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's insane. Jesus. So one of the things, another thing that you need to know is your distribution rights on the terms of services. And for example, which Twitch no longer has this, but they used to have a 24-hour hold. So your VOD had to be on Twitch before you could upload it to YouTube or anywhere else. That no longer exists. That changed, I believe, at the beginning of this year. But every platform that you use has a different distribution right. So you may have a case where, like, for example, you post on TikTok, but they change it to say you have to leave it up for a week here before you can post it anywhere else. They're not going to do that. But like those are possibilities depending on what level you are and your stuff, I guess. Also, a thing to keep in mind is community guidelines tend to be wrapped into terms of services.
Yes.
And community guidelines are going to be things like what you can and can't wear, specifically for Twitch. Ladies, or people with breasts, if you present as female, you can show all the cleavage you want. But God forbid you show a nipple. But men, people that present as masked, as male, shirtless all day, every day. It's fine. It's just fine. And there's a bunch of other things like that you, again, just like the weed thing, you can be banned for, and they don't have to tell you because it's in their terms of services.
Right.
So,
all they have to say is you violated community guidelines.
Yep.
And also with Twitch, you can't show nudity, even if it's pixelated, blurred, or partially obscured.
Yeah.
You know. So please don't think that you can do that and show that, because eventually you're going to get suspended or deleted.
And of course, now, the smaller you are, the less likely they're going to enforce these things on you, unless someone comes in and reports you. But there's still things that you need to be aware of, and kind of think in the future, like, if you do want to, grow or get bigger or, whatever, you do have to think about that in the future, because it will affect things, and it can slow stuff down because, you've got, a history of this.
And excuse me.
And brands and stuff like that, if you want to work with brands and stuff like that, their terms of services are going to be even tighter.
Right. And also remember that they don't treat all streamers the same, or all content creators. There's a core group of content creators on each platform.
Cishet white men.
Yeah. But they're not the same people on each platform, although there's some commonality,
Right.
They can get away with some of this stuff because they're bringing in a lot of money. And so they may give them like, oh, we're going to suspend you for 12 hours. And you do the same thing. Your account just gets banned and you need to make a new account and regrow everything.
Yeah. If you're streaming Baldur's Gate, you should not be showing nudity. That will get you banned.
Yes. Even though it's animated nudity.
Yeah.
It's all nudity.
That is a no. That's why I never streamed Sims on Twitch, because I play with mods.
Yeah. That's,
Not anymore. It's so bizarre. You don't think about those things, right? Even though your channel is 18 plus, it is in there, and it is very specific phrasing, and so you have there's a reason why I married an attorney. It has nothing to do with his sexy blue eyes or his hot voice. Absolutely nothing. I totally did not fall in love with him during our raids while he was our GM of our WoW.
Yeah.
Not at all. We totally did not have a group of us ranking the voices in our raids, and Ron consistently ranked high in my reports. Absolutely none of this happened.
Yeah. I don't stream generally. I wouldn't stream Baldur's Gate 3 if I did, but I will say that I always give Lazelle's underwear to Astarion.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
It's hot.
It just looks better on Astarion.
It does. It really does.
Here's another
Anyway.
term of service: YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. You grant the right when you use YouTube to have YouTube monetize your content for them. That's still a thing. They can use your stuff. They can put ads on your video.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you don't get any payments for that.
Nope.
But you grant them the right to do it.
Yep.
And not only that,
we need to move on a little bit because we're getting towards the end of our thing, and I do want to get people to have, have
I'm
some
sorry. Okay.
time.
I'm
we're gonna
long-winded. I apologize.
we're gonna move on from TOS, but basically read the TOS.
Yeah.
Giveaways and sponsorships. Don't go outside your country of origin. Just don't. If you're doing any kind of giveaways or anything like that, only give away to your country of origin, because that's all we have for that. There's too much litigation and law stuff. There are so many countries that do not allow for giveaways.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say one more thing, and then we'll get to questions. Even if it's within your country, you may have specific regions, like the United States does, where certain states do not allow.
Right. Yeah. There are certain states
giveaways
in this country that don't do giveaways. So tools to help for all of these things. So here is a list. The most important thing, do not just Google something and use it, because you can't. That's not how that works. For music sites, you have Monstercat, Pretzel Rocks, YouTube, Incomputech, freesound.org, Envato. Those are things I have all used professionally throughout my career for music sites. Now, like, one of my besties is a musician, and I just fucking pay her. It's
right.
really nice.
If on the list it says attribute and you use it, you got to make sure that you give credit to the person who created it.
Right. If it says paid, it means you don't have to attribute it. But if it says paid attribute, it means it means you can do both. And I put down, I haven't double checked to see if all of these. So I know for a fact that Adobe now uses AI for its stock photos. So when you go look at these sites, double check to make sure whether or not they use AI, because if you are averse to that, I recommend not. If you don't care, then go have at it. I am a person who does care, so that's why I mention it, because I think it's very important that we don't have regulations on AI right now. Shutterstock, Envato, and iStock, I do know for a fact, do not have AI, and iStock and Shutterstock have come out and said they're not going to accept AI. So, but you do have to pay for those for artwork. There are Pixabay is a tribute. You don't have to pay for that one, but I don't know if they do AI. However, there are also some amazing artists out there in girl streamers and real women of gaming and unified streamers. So go pay them.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
I have one more thing.
Oh my God! What?
Okay, if that picture says Getty Images on it,
yes,
that is generally a copyrighted picture.
Yeah.
And then unless it's a news use that you're going for, don't use it unless you pay Getty Images for it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why you go pay for stock photos. And you don't Google. You don't just use an image from Google. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. TikTok. This is some very important information. TikTok ban. Even if you don't use TikTok, it matters. You need to know what the fuck is going on with the TikTok ban. So the law stipulates that ByteDance, which is TikTok's owner, must sell its stake in TikTok to a U.S. company within the next 12 months under threat of being shut down. TikTok CEO has already come out and said, that's not happening. I'm not selling to you guys. So it's effectively a ban. It is going to be a ban. However, this is going to be in litigation for a very long time. So it is not going to disrupt your service right now. But if the TikTok ban goes through eventually, if it actually goes through, it means that they can do this to any social media platform. And TikTok has half of the country using it and has 5 to 7 million stores where people sell their stuff on TikTok through TikTok. A lot of people, because of TikTok, have been able to pay their bills.
Yeah.
So my advice, I'm not a lawyer, but I am a journalist. My advice is if you use the TikTok shop, lawyer the fuck up and start suing the government. And that's all we have to say about the TikTok ban. It's not going to disrupt your service, but
Yet.
keep it in the back of your mind. Oh, this is definitely something to pay attention
Yep.
to.
Come up with a plan B
Yeah.
in case for
Yeah.
when it does go away.
And just for any person who is in the creative field, if you don't diversify, you are not going to survive. And then net neutrality has been restored. What the fuck is net neutrality? ISPs can no longer throttle your service, which means not only did they do that, they also voted to reclassify broadband as a public utility like water and electricity, which means that there will be government oversight of these companies now, like there is in water and electricity. I know that there are issues there. It's systemic, but having that governmental oversight will force those companies to stop doing the shit they're doing.
Right. And if there's a small company competing against a large company, they can't favor that large company.
Yeah.
Which is what net neutrality getting rid of did. If you had
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you had a search engine and you wanted to go against Google, all the ISPs could just throttle you down,
right,
and favor Google. Can't do that anymore.
And it's set to go into effect 60 days after their publication in the Federal Register. I'm not sure what or when that means.
Well, things take a while to get in the Federal Register, so expect a 3 to 4 month delay from this ruling, and then 60 days after it hits. So maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah, I was thinking end of the year. Granted, now the next administration could change it. So,
right. Well, depending on which administration, yeah.
This is the moment where we stop and say, you need to go to vote.org to make sure that you are registered to vote. If you live in the United States of America, you need to make sure that you're registered to vote. Not because of the presidential election, because that is not the election that matters the most. The election that matters the most is your local election. And guess what? There is an election every fucking week in this country, somewhere in this country. So if you go to vote.org, you can see what your local elections are that are coming up. You can make sure that you are registered, and you can make sure that you have all of that set up and you know what is coming for your local elections. And you have every right to tell your local representatives that you want to keep net neutrality, because the real power in America comes from Congress, not the president.
Correct.
We have the power to do this year, because every single seat in the House of Representatives is up for re-election. Every single seat in the House, and 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election. We have a year. We have a chance this year to really, really let them know what our opinions are. Now back to our regularly scheduled broadcast.
Can I say one more thing?
God damn it, Ron. Yeah, go ahead.
Keep checking votedog.org, every week or so to make sure you're still on the roll.
Yes.
Because they are systematically getting rid of people at the same time you're checking.
Yeah. I think we have like 4 minutes left. If you have any,
I haven't gotten any chat.
This is the kind of questions that we go over on our podcast at Learning the Law. Our latest episode, right now, for the record, we're going through Project 2025 and Agenda 47. So if you are interested, and we're breaking it up piecemeal, so they are not the main topic. Our main topic this week was actually the history of sedition laws. And it was really interesting, actually. So yes, we also, and I've changed up our podcast a little bit. It's 4 segments. We have our main topic, Project 2025, Agenda 47, and then we end on the current events, and we end on positive news. And we've actually had some really great wins recently in abortion rights. It was Arizona, right? The bullshit.
It was Arizona, the 1864 law.
The 1864 law has been overturned or has been repealed. So that because of the backlash, that is because of you people calling your representatives. That is great. See, we are making strides. They're slow, but we are making strides, and it's amazing to see the work that this country is doing. It's amazing. Like, the people are motivated, and y'all are. I get excited about this shit. So, anyway, tomorrow morning we will be back at 12 p.m. We're West Coast, so it'll be 9 a.m. our time, 12 p.m. East Coast, and we will be talking more politics on our patio. So, if you want to. That'll be where you can come and ask us anything about current events. We've collected our newspapers for the weekend to read because we've noticed some interesting stuff that we wanted to talk about. So apathy is the enemy of progress. So please vote. Yes, absolutely. So please vote and support your locals. Absolutely. Previous Pluto. Okay, let me. Damn, I'm hungry.
Well, with 2 minutes left, are there any questions on Twitch? Because I haven't gotten any on Discord.
And if there is any questions that y'all think of later, these 2 lovely people are friends of mine, and I can track them down at any given time.
Every so often, we will do an episode of your questions, and I actually reached out to these bitches recently, and that ended up being a really fucking good podcast. Yeah, we love answering your questions because they're always great questions.
I think we have 1 minute.
Who is up next? Who's up next? Prep is
Graham,
death.
Yeah, Graham. Thank you, baby. Graham Jingo is joining, and Ryan Khan.
Nice.
Are going to talk about preparation for your TTRPGs.
Oh, very nice.
I want to listen to that one.
Ron is our DM. I am. I have started my first attempt at DMing in our campaign to give him a break, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. What?
I've played D&D since 1977.
Oh wow!
I wasn't alive in 1977.
I know a lot of people weren't.
Hey, fun fact: my husband graduated high school the year before I was born.
Hot.
Yeah. I've got game.
All right, these two lovely people are available in our Discord, or on their website and Twitter and all this stuff. So thank you both so much. We love your faces. We're gonna take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you. Bye.